This is gonna sound savage. I think the root of all man-made suffering on planet Earth is due to immaturity, meaning low emotional intelligence, meaning low self-esteem in people, low level of consciousness, low level of self-awareness, low level of realism. This is why you get someone like Putin. This is why you get someone like Trump. Putin's main motivator in life is fear and need for recognition. He fears to lose power. No democratic leader ever fears to lose power as much as Putin does it. And when you live your life out of fear, and when being in power for so long, and when your main motivator in life is fear, this is where you end up. You end up a dictator. You end up a murderer. You end up where Putin ends up. I mean, not you, but Putin is nothing special. Fear led him there, as many other dictators before him. They're all dictatorship regimes, they're pretty much all the same. There's a dictator who builds a loyal base around him. They select people into their team not by qualities and professionalism, but by loyalty. Loyalty is everything. That's one. Two, holding your people in fear, holding your population in fear of you, that's also a constant among them all. And of course, how do you hold them in fear? Mass media's projection of power, and just lie to them. Lie and lie. And all for what? All for that just this you, a really guy with a big ego, can enjoy a good life? All those people need to suffer just for you to be safe. So this is clearly where such people like Putin do not have a positive feedback loop with the environment. They just can never accept that they're wrong. They fear to be wrong. They fear to be wrong because it was taught in the society that, hey, if you're wrong, you're weak. If you're weak, you're despised in Moscovian society. And now ultimately Trump, he's not value-driven. He's driven to look good on TV, for people to say good things about him, for Nobel Peace Prize, to be recognized. But they falsely think that recognition will make them happy. Because true recognition only comes from within. Actually, Nathaniel Branden says it in his book. And in 6 Pillars Self-Esteem, it says, healthy self-esteem correlates with rationality, realism, intuitiveness, creativity, independence, flexibility, ability to manage change, willingness to admit and correct mistakes. Healthy self-esteem requires willingness to admit and correct mistakes, which is exactly what people like Trump, Putin, and I dare say Zelensky, they do not have. So thus they do not have high self-esteem, because such quality is a requirement for high self-esteem. But ultimately, what is high self-esteem? What Nathaniel Branden here explains what self-esteem is: confidence in our ability to think, confidence in our ability to cope with the basic challenges of life. Number 2, confidence in our right to be successful and happy. The feeling of being worthy, entitled to assert our needs and wants, achieve our values, and enjoy the fruits of our efforts. Enjoy the fruits of our efforts. This is what I feel like with my YouTube channel when I post a video, and I enjoy making it, and people enjoy what I make. And it's fucking awesome if people enjoy what I enjoy. Right? It's almost like sex. I enjoy that girls enjoys me, and she enjoys that I'm enjoying her. And it's like, doesn't it sound odd? The same exchange of energies that has sex and enjoying the fruits of our efforts. Actually, sex is also in this category. If you have truly sex with connection, when you feel the moment and you don't have any programs running you, trying to self-validate because of how hot her body is. Anyway, the problem everything is low self-esteem, inability to admit, like, oh my god, look at a very good example of inability to admit mistakes, Elon Musk. Oh, by the way, there's more qualities of high self-esteem: benevolence and cooperativeness. Poor self-esteem correlates with irrationality, blindness to reality. Blindness to reality. Oh, how many people are blind to reality these days? Rigidity, fear of new and unfamiliar, inappropriate conformity, or inappropriate rebelliousness. Defensiveness, over-controlling behavior, and fear of hostility towards others. Fear of hostility towards others. How can you combine fear of hostility? I fear hostility. I feel like I'm hostile towards others. We shall see that there is logic to these correlations. High self-esteem seeks the challenge and stimulation of worthwhile and demanding goals. This is what I'm doing with my YouTube. YouTube is just such a long-term game, but as long as you enjoy this game, why not play? Give it your best. What's the worst thing? You'll stop liking it? Fine. So it's just something else. So this is where it could get confusing. Elon Musk is a billionaire, and here it says an extraordinary high number of successful entrepreneurs have 2 or more bankruptcies in the past. Failure did not stop them. Thus, we can imply from this that with higher the self-esteem, the better equipped we are to cope with troubles that arise, the quicker we are to pick ourselves up after a fall, the more energy we have to begin anew. Wow. But, Elon Musk, highly successful entrepreneur, you can't deny that, right? And does it mean he has high self-esteem? No. Did Elon Musk have failures? Yeah, he had to. I gotta ask ChatGPT urgently, what failures did Elon Musk had in his life?
Elon Musk has faced several challenges and setbacks throughout his career. Some notable ones include Zip2. His first company faced challenges in the early days, including financial difficulties. 2. X.com and PayPal. Musk was ousted as CEO of X.com, which later became PayPal during its early days.
This definitely seems like a contradiction. And one doesn't dictate the other. One doesn't mean that a person with low self-esteem can still be getting up faster, but probably not because of high self-esteem, but because of some kind of trauma. A trauma could also be a motivator. I think this is where the difference lies. A person with high self-esteem, they get up because they appreciate being alive and because they're driven by love. By desire to experience more of this life, by desire to experience more of this space-time, physical reality that we live in. Because now we have it and then we don't. I just got an idea to start a new YouTube series for members only and make it for $1 subscription per month, where I would be getting high and I would be reading this book, 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, and explaining how I see self-esteem and how Nathaniel Branden is a genius. You know how there's a conquest to put our consciousness into mathematics, into formulas, how it functions? This is the closest we can get to it. It explains how we tick, and it explains it on such a deep level. This is formulas, but not with math. It's formulas with words. The words that Nathaniel Branden uses also, they're impeccable. Anyway, what's interesting, I have this book for 13 years. I got it in 2012. I've been with this book for so long, and rereading it feels so surreal because when I was reading it 12 years ago, I was deriving completely different meanings. 12 years of seeking within and outside. Check out the first chapter, just preambula. Just this short paragraph is just so mind-blowingly deep. There are realities we cannot avoid. It's true. We cannot avoid the fact that my battery is dying or that I'm feeling sad. We cannot avoid the fact that the war happened. This is the reality. That's the first sentence, and it's already just so profoundly deep. One of them is the importance of self-esteem. Wait a minute. So importance of self-esteem is the reality we cannot avoid? Just like we cannot avoid the reality that there is war, we cannot avoid the reality that self-esteem is pretty darn important for our lives. All right, that was just 2 sentences. Regardless of we do or do not admit, we cannot be indifferent to our self-evaluation. Are you guys self-evaluating yourself? Are you productive today? Not productive? Are you happy? Are you not happy? Isn't this self-evaluation constantly happening within ourselves. Yeah, certainly happens within me. Am I happy? I'm not happy with my life. And now, what would my answer be to that? Because, wait a minute, I'm the judge, the jury, and executioner then. I make the standards on which I judge myself. I do the actions on which I judge myself. I choose to do actions, and then I choose to act and execute my plans. So we cannot be indifferent to this fundamental truth. However, we can run from this knowledge if it makes us uncomfortable. We can shrug it off, evade it, declare that we are only interested in practical matters, and escape into baseball or an evening news or financial pages or a shopping spree or a sexual adventure or a drink. I have escape into sexual adventure highlighted. 12 years ago, that was it for me. That was where escaping into. Anyway, yes, self-esteem is a fundamental human need. Its impact requires neither our understanding nor our consent. Self-esteem is a fundamental human need, just like water, just like physical exercise, just like food, just like air. We require self-esteem to survive. People whose self-esteem is so low, they don't actually care as much to be alive or not. That's why we see so many Muscovites suicide themselves and in general allow their government to be treating them like this poorly, because those people have such an incredibly low self-esteem. The life of average Russian outside of Moscow and St. Petersburg is so awful. They get shit at work, they get shit at home, they get shit from the government, they get shit from everywhere, from the news. And its impact requires neither our understanding nor our consent. So this is where it gets interesting. Its impact requires neither our understanding nor our consent. Wait a minute. If self-esteem is so essential for human life, it's a fundamental need, it's a reality we cannot avoid, then it would mean it for me to have a happier life, I would need to seek out how to understand my self-esteem. What is it? And I would seek out how I can make it higher. Because the higher it is, the more fulfillment from life I get. But I feel like a lot of people stop there. They don't seek, they don't question themselves. They live safe, like bio-robots. Bio-robots is one of my recent words that I've been using to describe people who... I actually came up with a really interesting definition. Bio-robots are people who control less than 50% of their life. The moment you control 51%, not of the reality, but how you react to the reality. If your reactions are at least 51% consciously chosen, rather than being automatically chosen for you by the programs, by the biological programming in our brain. This is what consciousness is. This is what free will is actually too. When we live consciously, we have free will to choose to act in spite of our programming, in spite of our fear. And this is what courage really is as well. Anyway, self-esteem works its way within us with or without our knowledge. We are free to seek to grasp the dynamics of self-esteem or to remain unconscious of them. This is what I was saying. We can choose to try to grasp how it works, or we can choose to not care or remain unconscious of them. Of course, you cannot choose to remain unconscious. Remain unconscious, which basically means being a biorobot, not being aware of what you're doing. You're actually harming yourself when you're not focusing on trying to deepen your understanding of yourself, of your self-esteem, of your consciousness. You're living a life that is much more shallow. So, we are free to grasp the dynamics of self-esteem or to remain unconscious of them. But in the latter case, we remain a mystery to ourselves and endure the consequences. Exactly as I was saying, deepen our understanding of ourselves so that we understand why we want to react the way we want. Because everything in this world has a cause for its existence. That's the law of logic. Everything in this universe has a cause of its existence. And in this subject, I'd like to recall the fact that you can prove the existence of Creator using this logic. Because everything has a cause for its existence. That means our universe has a cause for its existence. But the cause of universe existence cannot be inside the universe, because that would make it an Ouroboros, a snake eating its tail. The universe is the cause of its birth and death. It could certainly be possible that our universe is an Ouroboros. Then it would go into infinity. Or maybe not. Who knows? A probable version is that the cause of our universe existence is outside of it. What outside of our universe can be the cause of our universe existence? Is that something? Is that intelligent? Or is that non-intelligent? Could something non-intelligent be a cause for all this? For all this complicated biology? All this complicated matter that human brain can't even fathom? What is intelligence then? Hey Google, what is intelligence?
Reasoning, planning, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving.
Right. Yep. No, something without intelligence would be unlikely to produce something like this. So that something that is a cause of creation of our universe is intelligent. Hello, the Creator. I'm happy if you have watched all this far. It just means that my thoughts someone finds interesting. Why would that feel good for me, huh? These are the kind of questions that people with high self-esteem would ask themselves. Why I feel what I feel. Why I think what I think. Always leave a doubt that I can be mistaken or I can be wrong. And that's okay, actually, because in our mistakes holds wisdom. There's nothing wrong to making mistakes. I really love this Ukrainian proverb. Only the one who never does anything is never mistaken. So brilliant. We're all human beings. We all fail. We all make mistakes. But gotta take responsibility for that and have courage. Have courage to push on despite fear. Okay, in the next episode, I will read more of 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. Thank you so much for listening until this part. It's done. Let's all be humans, after all.